Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and today I'm here with the design team post for Fairy Stamper. Today I'm going to be making this card using Sparkle Dust, Bunnies, Solara, Holiday Word Tree, and Hanging Vines. And I'm going to be using a background that I had made with the Gelatos a couple videos ago, so if you want to see how those were made, you can check that video out. But I cut that down to an A2 size card base, or 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to use some embossing ink, and I'm just going to start stamping the images. Now I'm going to be using quite a few different embossing powders. I'm going to use metallic blue, metallic green, and metallic copper, all from Zing. And then Wow Embossing Powder, I'm using rose gold for the fairy, and white twinkle embossing glitter. So now this whole time, as soon as I started with the stamps and embossing, I turned on my heat gun. The hotter that it is, the faster that this will melt, and you do want to do that while, especially with having so many different things I'm embossing at the same time. Not at the exact same time, but at different times, but I mean all on the same piece of paper, so you do kind of want to make sure that you watch that. So here I'm going to use the fairy. Now I have to tell you, the fairy, the card moved after I stamped it the first time. I didn't realize it until after I had heat embossed it, and then I was kind of looking at it, and I was going to remake the card, and I went back and forth on what I should do with it, and I showed my daughter, and she said, "Oh no, Mom, you need to leave that because that's body positive imaging right there." So I decided I was going to leave it, not necessarily because of that, but just because I thought it still looked fine. Like I said, the fairy is definitely thinner on the stamp, but because it had moved, but it was interesting how it didn't move and mess up the shaping of the fairy. So you can see me kind of looking at it there like, wait a minute, does that look the way it's supposed to look? But like I said, I decided to keep it anyway. I thought in the end it still looked great, so what difference did it make? Then I'm going to go on with the bunnies, and I'm just going to pop them down there like they're watching the fairy add her little fairy sparkle to the tree. And then I will end up using the hanging vines all over. And like I said, at the very, very end, I will use the sparkle dust, and I'm going to use that with the white twinkle embossing glitter. And that, like I said, I think worked out really well for that. I used the copper for the little bunnies, the rose gold for the fairy, the metallic blue for the tree, the metallic green for the vines. And like I said, I just think it's a super fun card. It was very simple to make, particularly since I had a background already created. So that is one of the fun things I do like about making multiple backgrounds at one time. You kind of have something that you can fall back on if you need a background sometimes. And I really liked the bright colors behind it, because I was just thinking, you know, I didn't want to just go with the plain white, or, you know, like a white background, a snow background, and that type of thing. So I thought it was fun to have this really bright, fun background along with it. Now the hanging leaves, or the hanging vines, I'm sorry, I had just decided in all different areas wherever I felt like hanging them. If they overlapped with some, that was perfectly okay. And like I said, I think it ultimately came out really cute. Now, as I said, this is an A2 size card, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I did cut this panel down a little bit more than 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and then I cut the panel, the layering panel, the black panel that I'm going to put behind this front panel, a little, about 1/8 of an inch, just short, so 7/8. Yeah, spit it out, hon. I cut it 3 7/8. and 5 3/8. And then, like I said, I cut the panel down a little bit more than that, and then I just ended up popping that on a white card base so that I can have lots of room to write my sentiment on the inside of there. And I just thought this was a really fun, bright, cheery holiday card. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can check out the Facebook page for Fairy Stamper Hugs. You can also go on to fairystamper.com. Check out all of the information there. Be sure to follow us on YouTube. And thank you everybody for joining me today. As I said, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday. I will be back in January, but I will not have another one until after the holidays. So again, everybody have a great holiday season. Take care and be safe.